Back when I first got into anime, everything felt fresh, new, nothing like I've seen in any other medium. I was discovering shows left and right that actually had an effect on me and on my life. I know then that this medium, weird as it might be sometimes, was really special. But the more I've explored and the more I fell into the seasonal anime rabbit hole, the more that feeling was getting lost on me. It was rare that a single show could move me that much anymore. That is until in January 2021, a show called Mushoku Tensei or jobless reincarnation aired, and it blew me away once again. Watching it felt like discovering and falling in love with One Piece or experiencing Clannad for the first time, not knowing the horrors that awaits me. Just watching the first few episodes, I know it had the potential to be one of my all-time favorites. It was a masterclass in both animation and storytelling that made me feel that this was isekai finally done right. Mushoku Tensei is basically a show about a fat dude who got hit by a truck then reborn in another world. That might sound familiar cause that's like every isekai ever, but what makes this so special is a lot of people call it the grandfather of isekai. He was basically the first to popularize all the tropes and the cliché you're familiar with. Even the raccoon trope, we got the OG over here, and the founder of the company that killed all your favorite characters. But unlike thousands of isekai, all those tropes are here for a reason. Redeus didn't just show up in this world and become overpowered overnight. He was reborn as a baby, blessed with a new family and a whole new life ahead of him. And the person he was before didn't just magically disappear. It was there for him as a constant reminder to be better and not repeat the same mistakes again. The story is well crafted and more interesting than any isekai I've watched. You can tell that so much was put to make this world to absolute perfection. The world building and the character writing is not just some of the best in isekai, but some of the best in all of anime. I was finally convinced of how special this show is when I watched episode 17 of the first season. If you haven't gotten there yet, then please skip to the next part. After Redeus and Eris got caught up in an incident and got transported to the demon continent, they befriended a spirit named Rigerd and tried to make their way back. But almost at the end of the journey, Rudy was unexpectedly reunited with his father Paul, but their reunion soon turned into a fight. Rudy was made aware that he wasn't the only one who got caught up in their incident, but a whole region did, including his whole family. Yet throughout his whole journey, he never stopped once to consider that possibility. This scene was just brilliant. It showed how the world still works outside of Redeus, and how Redeus was naive to think of it as a video game. Paul also got his own story. He was transported far away from his family, went through hardships to look for them, and fell into darkness where he couldn't find them. His only saving grace is that his talented son was also doing his part somewhere, only to find him bragging about some journey he had with some girl, which led to him lashing out, driven by anger and pain, instead of just being happy that his son made it out alive. We were also reminded how flawed Redeus is, despite being a talented magician and looking like he got a handle on things. He underestimated this world, got caught up in his own fantasy, and was made aware of how foolish he was. There was no right or wrong in this. Both characters went through so much on their own, made some mistakes, misunderstood each other, and as soon as they realized that, they were able to forgive one another. This had so much emotion and depth for essentially just a father-son argument, and it shows how much the author put in these characters to make them feel as real as possible. I know then how special this show is. I fell in love with its world and its characters and decided I should read the light novel. I know what you're thinking. If you love this show so much, why would you rob yourself of the anime adaptation and its beautiful, stunning animation? You must be a fucking nerd, aren't you? Well, I suppose I am. The thing is, I don't like reading and I don't do light novels that much, but this was one of the cases when I know I had to. I like this series so much that I wanted the full experience, to immerse myself in this beautiful world the author crafted and experience its story the way he intended it to be. That's why for like 3 weeks straight, all I did was read Mushoku Tensei, binge all 26 volumes. Couldn't even do anything else but eat, sleep and read Mushoku Tensei all day. That might sound suffocating, but for me, it's always special to find something so good that it takes over my life for a while. The same happened when I binged 900 episodes of One Piece or when I read all of the Berserk volumes back to back, and I was hoping that the Mushoku Tensei light novel would give me the same immersive experience, and thank God it did. I was given more lore about the world, the laws that it operates on, the great history behind it, wars that have taken place thousands of years ago, heroes, villains, and important people that shaped how it came to be. Some of these details were relevant to the plot, and some were just there to further our understanding of the world. We also got monologues so we can understand Redeus and the reason behind his actions better. But not just him though, we also got monologues from other characters like Paul, Sylphie, Eris, Roxy, so we can see certain events from others' perspective. Even the scene I talked about before from episode 17, I was able to understand it better by getting both their versions of the story, how they both got to that point and how they came to forgive each other, and it was even more peak. So much content that was cut from the anime due to runtime and budget problems, side stories that made me more invested in the characters, all and more were offered by the light novel for a better understanding of the characters and the world. That's why I don't regret those 3 weeks. I generally enjoyed this experience. It felt like seeing the authentic isekai story. We saw Redeus reincarnated as a baby and followed him through all the different phases of his life. We saw him confront his past life anxiety and learn to go outside again, learn magic and explore and experience all the different things this world has to offer, go through hardships, lose everything, attain happiness, fight constantly to protect that happiness, win some battles, unload some, and get the most out of his second shot at life. Cause that's what Mushoku Tensei is at the end. Not a redemption story, but a second chance story. Redeus is an incredibly flawed character, but what you expect from someone who didn't attend his parents' funeral so he can stay home and jerk off to loli hentai. He's not the overpowered confident isekai protagonist you wanna project yourself into. He's still a loser at his core and probably stayed a loser up to the end. But that's also what makes him feel so real. His old self didn't just disappear the moment that truck hit him. He's still the same person underneath. But we could see him trying hard, fighting all the time to not repeat the same mistakes and become a better person, all because of the person he was before. But at the end of the day, he was still human. He was bound to make mistakes again. We saw him falter several times, but instead of letting his mistakes ruin his life like he did the first time, he chose to get up, learn from them, try again, all to protect the thing he holds dear, and maybe to not end up like he did before, dying full of pain and regrets. But not just Redeus, every character in the story feel real. They all flawed in their own way. They have their own goals. Their actions have consequences. They make mistakes like normal human beings, and we see how each of them handle it. This world is filled with people like that. Every side character feel like they got their own story to tell. Redeus isn't even the main character of this world or the larger plot going on in the show. The world existed before him and will continue to exist and have interesting stories even after his death. Redeus was just a guy blessed with a second shot at life, and we're here to see how he handled it. Will it end up wasted like the first one? Will he finally have a fulfilling death? Haven't made the most out of this opportunity. And I don't know about y'all, but his story is truly inspiring. Cause if a guy like him could get a second shot and learn to walk again, then maybe there's a chance for all of us, and that's exactly what the author was trying to convey with this story. Not a made up fantasy about a guy who got transported to another world, became insanely powerful and perfect while getting all the bitches, but a story that teaches you it's okay to heal and start over and find your own second chance. That's why I absolutely love this light novel. Now it goes so far to even call it a masterpiece. I followed Redeus through the happy times, through the hardships, and all the turning points that shaked his life upside down. Seriously, I am now traumatized by the worst turning points. And above all, I was able to experience this beautiful and brutal world full of excitement and interesting things through Redeus' eyes, and in the end, I was satisfied. That's why I recommend that if you like Mushoku Tensei that much, consider reading the light novel. It's a fulfilling experience. And if you prefer sticking to the anime, that's also okay. The anime is great, and it's what made me fall in love with the series in the first place, and I can't wait to experience the story again through the anime. But for now, like and subscribe, and if you like the content, check the video right here.